What's going on? It's Fight Season Mains, and today I want to talk about the UFC 302 event that happened last night, headlined by Islam Makhachev and Dustin Poirier, co-headlined by Paulo Costa and Sean Strickland. Some of the biggest winners on the fight card, and how the main event, co-main event, and some other fights on the fight card went. Let's jump into it. Okay, first off, I want to start with the main event, Islam Makhachev versus Dustin Poirier, and I want to say this fight lived up to all the hype, in my opinion. I know that there was some very big, grappling-heavy stints by Islam, and he was trying to go for the takedown a lot, especially in that third round there, which he was not able to get that much. Or actually, it was in that second round he was not able to get it. The third round he did. But that was a masterful performance from Islam Makhachev, especially in that first round where he was faking to take top control or go into full mount, and he was trying to get Dustin to react to it so he could get that choke under there. Also, he was threatening the armbar, which we'll get to later for Kevin Holland, but Islam was threatening the armbar on Dustin just to make him react and move just so he could go in to clamp down the choke. I thought Dustin Poirier had a great fight too. I thought he performed amazingly on this fight. Versus Islam, who was a very stylistically hard opponent for him, and he did a lot better than I thought that he would did. But throughout this fight, Islam Makhachev's ability was shown on full display, from that grappling ability to his striking ability. And yes, I do think Islam outperformed a lot of people's expectations on the feet. And I know a lot of people say that Islam didn't win the striking department, but he might not have won it, but he was indeed comparable to Dustin Poirier in that category. Now, the big thing we have to talk about is, yes, the Darce choke was in the final round, but that ankle pick that Islam Makhachev had was one of the best things I've ever seen in the octagon. From the uncanny ability to take a situation to where you never thought that Islam could get Dustin down, to not only get him down, but then to automatically lock a Darce choke up that was so tight that Dustin Poirier tapped in around 7 seconds. That is uncanny ability and strength by Islam Makhachev, and that is why he is the pound for pound number one fighter on this earth. I truly believe that no fighter can beat Islam Makhachev if they weighed his same weight. I think Islam Makhachev would be the welterweight champion now, and you got to give your props to Dustin Poirier for performing so unbelievably well in this fight. Okay, next up is the co-main event, Sean Strickland versus Paulo Costa. And Paulo Costa had a very rough fight versus Sean Strickland. It's that technique for Sean Strickland, that Philly shell, being able to stay in the pocket very long. Now, this wasn't the most exciting fight on the card, but from a technical performance from Sean Strickland, he was trying his absolute best to engage with Paulo Costa, who was someone who was hopping on the train, hopping on the back foot, and running away from Sean Strickland. You know, that final round, that last 30 seconds was really enjoyable. That knockdown for Sean Strickland, the second round, was another highlight. And truly, those checks from Sean Strickland really deterred Paulo Costa through the entire fight. I thought Paulo Costa's gas tank was better than expected to be in the fight, and I think that fourth round, even though the striking discrepancy was probably the biggest, Paulo Costa had his best round. I had it 50-45 for Sean Strickland in this fight. I do think Paulo Costa has some ability in the 185 division, but I was thinking about it, and I do think that he should move up to 205. That could be another video for another day. But I think this weight cut is draining his ability to have a gas tank of that caliber to where he can throw that output, considering how big he is. Now, Sean Strickland looked amazing tonight considering the circumstances. Sean Strickland's Philly shell was very technical, being able to go in and out, being able to hit Paulo Costa with kicks, especially that fifth round where he did hit him with that high kick. And in the second round, he did hit him with that jab that wasn't full power, but it was absolutely perfect right to the button. Sean Strickland deserves a title shot versus Dricus du Plessis and truly is one of the best middleweights on the planet. Okay, the next fight, Kevin Holland versus Michel Oleksiejczuk. Now, that was an absolutely nasty armbar by Kevin Holland. Probably the best armbar I've ever seen in the UFC, and I am a massive Kevin Holland fan. I am not saying that just because I'm a Kevin Holland fan, but for Kevin to go in that deep, actually break his arm in two, and I know that there's some other ones. I know Herb Dean stopped one with Frank Mir eons ago, but this one was the new age worst armbar I've ever seen. Now, Tony Ferguson versus Charles Oliveira was nasty too, but Charles did not end up breaking his elbow. Kevin Holland broke Michel's arm. I don't know why Michel did not pull out of that armbar quicker. He truly just didn't understand how deep that armbar was in for Kevin Holland, and even Kevin Holland absorbed a big strike prior to that. And I know Kevin Holland said he wasn't rocked or whatnot in his post fight, but Kevin Holland looked rocked. He looked like he was able to. He was a little disoriented, my fault, and he just went for the armbar immediately because Michelle put it right in front of him, and Kevin got in on it deep. He needed to break it because Michelle wasn't tapping, and he ended up breaking it. And that was performance of the night, in my opinion. Even though Islam had the technical performance, from a sheer panic perspective from Kevin Holland to then jump armbar and then to lock the armbar in was truly amazing for Kevin Holland, and is a massive win considering that he has lost his last two fights, which were to respectable opponents, Jack Della Maddalena and Michael Venom Page. This is a fight at 185 that puts him back on track on short notice and will hopefully propel him to go back down to 170, fight someone like Neil Magny, fight someone like Jeff Neal to hopefully propel Kevin Holland forward. Okay, the next fighter I want to talk about was Roman Kapilov. I thought Roman Kapilov had an amazing first round versus Cesar Almeida. Amazing first round. He was hitting him with the strikes. He knocked him down and went into the takedown. Roman Kapilov is in my opinion, one of the most technical middleweights in the UFC right now. He looks like he's about 2 years old. He's 33 years old. And Cesar Almeida was piecing him up on the feet, but that IQ of Roman Kapilov understood that he had to get him to the ground. Those second and third rounds, especially that end of the second and later part of the third, was not that most exciting. That first round was very entertaining to watch from Roman Kapilov and Cesar Almeida, because Roman Kapilov had the strength, and he was used to. He is a striker by nature, and he wasn't tired from the little bit of grappling, which made it a very interesting fight because he was actually catching Almeida, who was the kickboxing champion, Glory kickboxing champion, I believe, and he was hurting him, and he was outstriking him. But in that second round and third round, Roman got very tired just because of that grappling. I do think Roman should get another ranked opponent. I think that would be something that would be great for him since his experience. I know he took a fight with Anthony Hernandez earlier this year, UFC 298, on short notice. Why don't you give someone else in the top 15 to Roman? And the last person I want to talk about real quick is the submission win for Jailton Almeida. I thought that was a pretty good submission, although Alexander Romanov, my fault, came in and looked like a fat blob. And I can't even lie, Romanov was very big. I didn't realize his record was that good, but Jailton did exactly what I thought he would do. Go in there and take him down, choke him out. And that's what Jailton was. And he called it Cyril gone after. And I believe that is not a bad call out. Now, I don't know if he will get the fight in Paris as the main event. Could believe so that he does get the main event, and he could be someone who does beat Cyril Gane, even though Cyril Gane is an amazing striker and he does know how to manage distance. Now, I'm not comparing Jailton Almeida to John Jones, but you look at that John Jones fight, got him down. Jailton Almeida is a grappler. I think he can get him down and submit Cyril Gane. I don't think it would be that big, crazy of a thing to see, but I do believe that could happen at UFC Paris soon. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to the breakdown of the fights. I'm sorry that this isn't a very in-depth breakdown